What's up, guys? So as you can see, I have successfully BP4W swapped my NA6. Now, I'm pretty late to making this video. I actually got this swap done in August. One of my last videos about my 1.6 turbo setup was going over how I was planning this swap and how I wanted to, do it. And obviously here I am 4 months later and it's done. I finished it in August. I was planning on making a video of actually doing the swap and then like another video of the tuning process and so forth. And I have bits and pieces of footage from those things, but I didn't take enough to really string together an actual video. So here I am now with kind of an overview video. I want to make a separate video going over a few detailed things on how to actually do the BP4W swap and an NA6 chassis, because there are a few things that are kind of specific that when I was looking for information to do this I couldn't find. So I'm going to make a separate video going over those, but this video is just kind of showing off what I now have, and yeah, it's super cool. I'm very happy with it. So I think the first thing to talk about here is how much power is it actually making. So I got this tuned by the same guy who tuned my 1.6 setup when I put this turbo kit on it, and we just did it remotely. Took about a week. Did not go to a real dyno, but according to like the Megalog viewer dyno sheet or whatever it's called, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. I think the exact number was 243, so we'll just call it 240. According to that, it's making 240 wheel, which is more than enough for a drift Miata, that's for sure. It's on 12 psi, so I was on 14 psi with the 1.6 setup. I'm on 12 psi with this, makes 240 wheel. It feels really, really good. A very big difference compared to the 1.6 setup. It just feels faster. It's obviously more reliable, which is like the exciting part for me, because my 1.6 was kind of like on its deathbed. It just ran kind of like shit sometimes, and I don't know, the 1.6 just has reliability issues. This does not. So that's, again, the exciting part for me, is it makes more power and it's more reliable than the 1.6 ever was. So huge score, really happy with the outcome of this. So obviously the 1.8 and the 1.6 are very similar. In fact, they're pretty much identical, aside from the fact the 1.8 is just bigger for the most part. So everything modification wise was pretty much able to swap right off my 1.6 and go onto this 1.8. So there's not a whole lot of differences. Turbo, for the most part, stayed the same. I did have to get a new oil feed line, okay? Because as you guys know, or you should know, the oil feed port is normally like down here on the side of the block on the 1.6, but the 1.8 doesn't have that. So you have to get a big oil feed line and wrap it around and get it, well, you're not going to be able to see it, but from the oil pressure sender, you just tee it off to the pressure sender. So I did have to get a new oil feed line. As previously mentioned, this engine's a little bigger, so I did have to get a new wand smoke manifold, baby. So new exhaust manifold, wand smoke, only place to get it. It's not actually the only place, but it's the only place you should be getting it. Ignition coils, I was able to reuse most of the coil unplug setup off the 1.6. Again, the valve cover's a little longer than the 1.6, so I had to get a new metal bracket here that the coils bolt onto from Speedy EFI. Luckily, they can sell it separate. So same ignition coils, same harness, all that from the 1.6 setup. Same fuel injector. Is going to be hard to see here, but same fuel injectors, just the Flowforce 640cc that I had on the 1.6 setup. I did upgrade to the radium fuel rail. Again, hard to see it in there. I'll go over that more in the video talking about how to BP4W swap an NA6, but I had to get a fuel rail of some kind, and it just was the easiest option. So radium fuel rail, why not? What else did I do? Coolant reroute. So I went ahead, I figured if I'm gonna, ever do a coolant reroute, sorry, I'm trying to fight the shadows here, might as well do it while the engine's out. So flying Miata, coolant reroute. I mean, you can see the hose here coming around. Anything else new? Oh, I also got a stainless clutch line, because the hard line that looks like a fucking pig's tail that goes down here, it was just a pain in the ass and in the way. And why not just eliminate all that crap and get a, stainless steel braided line and make it simpler. A few other things I added while doing the swap that I didn't have before are this Mac electronic boost controller. I just had that crappy manual one before, so that one's nice. I also added, hard to see here, but Innovate motor mounts. I just had OEM motor mounts on the 1.6 setup, and it looked like the engine was going to fly out of the fucking bay at any given moment with that thing. Super terrible. Highly recommend getting some polyurethane motor mounts. Very good decision. And the last thing that I can think of that I upgraded that you can't see is the clutch. I put a new Super Miata clutch in when I was doing the swap. And yeah, no complaints on that. Again, it's been 3 drift days and the clutch has been holding up just fine. So highly recommend the Super Miata clutch. So something I'm not using anymore is the Speedy EFI TPS sensor that I was previously using on my 1.6 setup. So a lot of people will use the 1.6 throttle body and then use that Flying Miata like bracket spacer to attach the 1.6 throttle body to the 1.8 intake manifold. I didn't do any of that garbage. I'm just using the 1.8 throttle body, and instead of all that extra bulky crap, I just made the idle air control valve and the OEM TPS sensor just work instead of adding brackets and adapters and a bunch of garbage. That is something I will go over how to do and how to make this work without buying extra crap and making it hideous. I mean, dude, if you do that, it pushes the throttle body out further. Like, it just looks like crap. Don't do that. Just do it the right way. And then Vic solenoid wired up, of course. We'll also go over how to do that properly. That's the one thing that I could not find much information on, was how to properly wire up the Vic solenoid. So I will also be going over that in the how-to video. As far as fan control goes, I kept it really simple, and I'm just using the OEM 1.6 fan switch. Obviously, that does not normally go onto a 1.8 water neck. There's nowhere to put it. But since I have the coolant reroute and the thermostat is moved to the back, and this plate goes here instead of the thermostat, there is a port, as you can see, for it, for the fan switch to go into. Just makes it super easy, keeps it in the same spot. Don't need to mess with the harness or nothing. Just simple, works exactly like it did before. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the gist of the new setup. If you guys like it, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, I'm very happy with this. Would highly recommend a 1.8 swap in everyone's NA6. Get that 1.6 out of there, put a 1.8 in. You will not regret it. It's really not too difficult to do. Probably one of the easiest engine swaps you could do, I'd say, because the engines are super identical. It's pretty much just like a normal replacement. There's only a few things you need to change to make it work. So super, super worth it. Something else I might as well go over briefly while we're here is, as you can see, I had a little incident with the rear quarter panel / trunk of the car. Buddy spun out in front of me on the track like a month ago, and I couldn't react in time, and I hit him, obviously. Oh, there it is. There it is. You good? No? Oh, no. It looks way better than it did before. I'll show you guys what it looked like before. Oh. Nice. Look. Well. And so the fact it looks like this now, I'm happy with it. I'm technically not done, you know, fixing it. Obviously, if I get a new finish panel, it'll take out that gap, and, you know, these dents can still come out and stuff and all that crap. But, like, it's a drift car, and I want to fix it. And I'm not planning on hitting anything anytime soon, but it's a high possibility that I will. So I'm not entirely sure how much more fixed this is going to get anytime soon, just because I don't want to do a bunch of work just to fuck it up anyway. So yeah, that's cool. But again, I'm pretty happy with how it looks now. I mean, again, it looks like crap, but it was way worse. So this, you know, I'll take this over that any day. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions about my 1.8 setup or about 1.8 swaps or anything like that in general, feel free to ask and I'll try to answer as best as I can. Like I said, I'm going to be making a how-to video going over some of the more intricate stuff in the BP4W swap that there's not a whole lot of information on, just like hooking up some of the sensors and the Vic solenoid and stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for that. If you guys like the video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.